Every morning before the world rushes in with its endless distractions, responsibilities, and expectations, there exists a quiet moment. A moment where you have the power to set the tone for your entire day. How you spend this time matters more than you think. The great Stoic philosophers believed that the morning is the foundation of the day, and if you start it right, you are already winning. They understood something profound. Life is short, unpredictable, and filled with challenges, but how you prepare yourself each morning determines how you face whatever comes your way. The first thing to embrace is a shift in perspective. Many people wake up dreading the day ahead, feeling weighed down by their responsibilities, or simply wishing for a few more minutes of sleep. But what if instead you woke up with a sense of purpose, with a mindset that sees every morning as an opportunity rather than an obligation? Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, had a simple yet powerful practice. He reminded himself each morning that life is temporary, that time is fleeting, and that each new day is a privilege, not a burden. When you truly understand this, the act of getting out of bed is no longer a struggle. It becomes a conscious choice to embrace the gift of another day. One of the most powerful practices you can implement is taking a few moments upon waking to reflect on the impermanence of life. This isn't meant to be a morbid thought, but rather a liberating one. Everything you experience, every challenge, every joy, every setback, it is all temporary. Nothing lasts forever, and that includes whatever difficulties you might be facing. When you remind yourself of this simple truth, you free yourself from unnecessary worries. You realize that even the worst days will pass, just as the best ones will. This awareness allows you to focus on what truly matters. Now that you have set your mind on the right path, it is time to take action. Many people go through their mornings on autopilot, repeating the same routines without much thought. But a Stoic morning is not about doing things mechanically. It is about being intentional. It is about using each moment wisely. Because once the morning is gone, you can never get it back. One of the best ways to do this is through journaling. Marcus Aurelius wrote what is now known as Meditations, a collection of his personal reflections that he never intended to be published. He used writing as a tool to clarify his thoughts, remind himself of his values, and prepare himself for the challenges of the day. You don't need to be a philosopher or a writer to benefit from journaling. All you need is a few minutes each morning to put your thoughts on paper. You can start by asking yourself a simple question. What kind of person do I want to be today? This is not about setting goals or making a to-do list. It is about defining your mindset and your approach to life. Do you want to be patient? Do you want to be courageous? Do you want to be kind? By writing down your intentions, you create a mental blueprint for how you will navigate the day ahead. Another powerful aspect of journaling is reflecting on what you are grateful for. In a world that constantly pushes us to want more, to chase after the next big thing, we often forget to appreciate what we already have. But gratitude is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. It reminds you that no matter how difficult life may seem, there is always something to be grateful for. It could be as simple as the warmth of your bed, the fact that you have another day to live, or the people in your life who support you. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a practice. The more you cultivate it, the more resilient you become. When you start your day by acknowledging what you are grateful for, you build a mindset that is resistant to negativity. You become less reactive to minor inconveniences and more appreciative of the little moments that make life meaningful. But a Stoic morning is not just about the mind. It is also about the body. The way you treat your body in the morning sets the stage for your energy levels, focus, and overall well-being throughout the day. The Stoics believed in discipline, and one way to cultivate discipline is by introducing small challenges into your routine. This could be as simple as taking a cold shower. While it may sound uncomfortable, that is precisely the point. By willingly exposing yourself to discomfort, you train your mind to be stronger. You remind yourself that you do not need comfort to function, that you are capable of facing difficulties head-on. Another important practice is mindful movement. Whether it is stretching, going for a walk, or engaging in a form of exercise, moving your body in the morning has profound effects on both your physical and mental state. The Stoics understood the connection between the body and the mind. A strong body supports a strong mind, and taking care of yourself physically is an act of self-respect. As you move through your morning, another critical practice is mindfulness. In today's world, it is easy to get caught up in distractions, to reach for your phone the moment you wake up, to immediately start thinking about everything you need to do. But the Stoics teach us the importance of presence. Being present means fully experiencing each moment without rushing to the next. It means drinking your morning coffee with awareness instead of mindlessly scrolling through your phone. It means truly listening to the people around you instead of being lost in your own thoughts. Presence is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. One way to cultivate it is through meditation. This does not mean you need to sit in silence for hours. It can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths and centering yourself before you start your day. Meditation helps train your mind to focus on what is within your control and let go of what is not. One of the greatest lessons of Stoicism is understanding what is within your control and what is not. Most of the stress and frustration we experience comes from trying to control things that are beyond our power. The weather, the opinions of others, unexpected events. These are all outside of our control. But what is always within our control is how we respond. When you start your day with this mindset, you become less reactive. You stop wasting energy on things that do not serve you and focus instead on what you can influence: your attitude, your actions, your choices. Another powerful practice is setting an intention for the day. This is different from making a to-do list. An intention is a guiding principle, a reminder of how you want to show up in the world. It could be something as simple as "I will practice patience today," or "I will not let external events dictate my emotions." By setting an intention, you create a mental anchor that keeps you aligned with your values, no matter what the day brings. A Stoic morning is not about perfection. It is not about following a rigid set of rules. It is about creating a mindset that allows you to navigate life with wisdom, resilience, and purpose. It is about recognizing that every morning is a new beginning, a chance to start fresh, to realign yourself with what truly matters. When you embrace this approach, you no longer wake up dreading the day. You wake up ready to live it fully. Another essential part of a Stoic morning is preparing yourself for the inevitable obstacles ahead. No matter how well you plan your day, unexpected events will arise. Someone might test your patience. A task may take longer than expected, or something completely out of your control could throw your schedule off track. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, which means premeditation of evils. This does not mean dwelling on negativity or expecting the worst, but rather mentally preparing yourself for potential challenges so that when they come, you are not caught off guard. Take a moment in the morning to visualize the different situations you might face. Imagine encountering a delay, receiving criticism, or dealing with frustration. Now, instead of reacting emotionally, picture yourself responding with calmness and wisdom. By rehearsing these moments in your mind, you train yourself to handle them with composure when they actually happen. This practice strengthens your resilience and allows you to move through the day with greater control over your emotions. Another important aspect of a Stoic morning is remembering that the day ahead is not just about you. In a world that often promotes individual success and personal achievements, it is easy to forget that our actions impact others. The Stoics emphasized the importance of virtue, and one of the highest virtues is being of service to others. As you prepare for the day, ask yourself, how can I contribute? This does not mean making grand gestures or changing the world in one day. It can be as simple as offering a kind word, being patient with someone who is struggling, or choosing to act with integrity in difficult situations. Every interaction you have is an opportunity to practice virtue. By approaching the day with this mindset, you shift your focus from seeking personal gain to making a positive impact on the world around you. Discipline is another key element of a Stoic morning. Many people rely on motivation to take action, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. The Stoics understood that true progress comes from discipline, from doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. This means sticking to your commitments, even when it is difficult. It means following through on what you said you would do, even if you do not feel like it in the moment. One way to strengthen discipline is to start your morning with a task that requires effort. This could be exercising, reading something challenging, or engaging in deep work before distractions set in. By starting your day with discipline, you set the tone for the rest of it. You remind yourself that your actions are not dictated by temporary emotions, but by a deeper commitment to growth. Another powerful practice is reminding yourself of what truly matters. In the rush of daily life, it is easy to get caught up in trivial concerns, worrying about what others think, stressing over minor inconveniences, or chasing after things that do not bring lasting fulfillment. The Stoics remind us to focus on what is essential. What will truly matter at the end of the day? What will still be important a year from now? By asking yourself these questions, you gain perspective and free yourself from unnecessary stress. A Stoic morning is not about adding more tasks to your routine. It is about approaching your morning with intention, clarity, and wisdom. It is about preparing yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically to meet the day with strength. When you start your morning in this way, you carry this mindset with you into everything you do. You become less reactive, more present, and more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. When you approach your morning with this level of awareness, something powerful happens. You start to realize that your life is not controlled by external events, but by the way you choose to respond to them. This is the essence of Stoicism. It is not about changing the world to fit your preferences. It is about training yourself to remain steady no matter what happens. And that steadiness starts with how you begin your day. Imagine walking into the day with complete control over your emotions, unshaken by negativity, focused on what truly matters. Imagine making decisions not out of impulse, but out of wisdom. This is what a Stoic morning routine allows you to cultivate. It transforms how you handle stress, how you interact with others, and how you move through life. Now, one of the most effective ways to reinforce this mindset is through a simple but often overlooked practice: gratitude. The Stoics did not see gratitude as just a feel-good exercise. It was a tool for shifting perspective, for grounding oneself in reality. Because no matter what challenges exist, there's always something to be grateful for: the ability to think, to learn, to experience another day. The mistake most people make is waiting until things are perfect before they feel gratitude. But the Stoics understood that true contentment does not come from perfect circumstances. It comes from training the mind to recognize the value in what is already here. Start your day by acknowledging something you are grateful for. It does not have to be grand. It could be the opportunity to improve yourself, the people in your life, or simply the fact that you woke up and have another chance to make the most of this day. When you make this a habit, you build resilience. You become less affected by minor inconveniences because you have trained your mind to see the bigger picture. And this is where perspective plays a critical role. Most people go through life caught up in their own worries, taking things personally, overanalyzing situations that, in the grand scheme of things, do not truly matter. The Stoics remind us to zoom out, to look at life from a broader perspective. Think about this. A year from now, will the thing you are stressed about today even be relevant? 5 years from now, will it have had any real impact on your life? Most of the time, the answer is no. But in the moment, it feels overwhelming. Why? Because we allow ourselves to be pulled into every emotion, every reaction, without stopping to question whether it is even worth our energy. A Stoic morning routine helps you break this cycle. It reminds you to step back, to evaluate situations with reason rather than emotion. Instead of reacting immediately to every challenge, you create space between what happens and how you respond. And in that space lies your power. Now let's talk about something that most people struggle with: distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. The moment you wake up, your phone is waiting. Notifications are calling for your attention. Endless streams of information are ready to pull you in. If you are not careful, your entire day can be dictated by external stimuli rather than by your own priorities. The Stoics were masters of focus. They understood that a distracted mind is a weak mind. If you cannot direct your attention, you cannot direct your life. This is why it is crucial to start your morning with clarity before the noise of the world has a chance to take over. One of the simplest but most effective ways to do this is to delay checking your phone first thing in the morning. Instead of immediately exposing yourself to news, messages, or social media, take time to set your own mental state first. Decide what is important to you before letting outside influences dictate your thoughts. If you train yourself to take control of your attention in the morning, you will find it easier to maintain that control throughout the day. You'll be more present in conversations, more focused on your work, and less reactive to distractions. It is a small habit, but it makes a significant difference. And this brings us to another essential element of a Stoic morning: movement. The Stoics understood that the mind and body are connected. A disciplined mind requires a disciplined body. Physical activity is not just about fitness. It is about training yourself to embrace discomfort, to build strength, and to develop resilience. It does not have to be an intense workout. It could be a simple stretching routine, a walk, or any form of movement that wakes up your body and prepares you for the day. What matters is the intention behind it. When you start your day with movement, you signal to yourself that you are in control, that you are capable, that you are preparing yourself to face whatever comes your way. Too often people wait until they feel motivated to take action. But the Stoics knew that action itself creates momentum. Do not wait to feel ready. Take action first, and the mindset will follow. When you do this every morning, you set a standard for yourself. You train yourself to push past excuses, to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. And as you move forward with this approach, you will notice something interesting. Your morning is no longer something you simply go through on autopilot. It becomes a ritual, a foundation, a time of preparation that shapes the entire trajectory of your day. Instead of waking up and reacting to whatever happens, you wake up and take control. You make intentional choices. You set the tone. Now, one last thing to consider. Who do you want to be at the end of this day? When you look back on how you spent your time, how you handled challenges, how you interacted with others, will you be satisfied with the way you showed up? The Stoics remind us that each day is a chance to practice being the person we aspire to be. And that practice starts the moment you wake up. When you approach each morning with this mindset, something shifts. You stop seeing the day as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something you shape. You become proactive rather than reactive. Instead of waiting for circumstances to dictate your mood, your energy, and your focus, you take full responsibility for them. And responsibility is at the core of Stoicism. The Stoics understood that you may not control the external world, but you do control yourself. You control your reactions, your effort, your attitude. This is why the way you start your morning matters so much. If you begin your day with discipline, with clarity, with purpose, you carry that momentum into everything else. But here is where most people struggle. They hear this advice, they feel inspired, they tell themselves they will implement these changes, and then nothing happens. Why? Because knowledge without action is useless. The Stoics were not just philosophers, they were practitioners. They did not just talk about wisdom, they lived it. And that is what separates those who truly grow from those who remain stuck. You must apply what you learn. You must take these principles and integrate them into your daily routine. Otherwise, they remain just words, just ideas. And ideas alone do not change your life. Consistent action does. So let's talk about how to make this real. How do you ensure that these Stoic practices become habits rather than just concepts you think about? The answer lies in repetition and intentionality. Every morning before you start your day, ask yourself, who do I want to be today? How do I want to show up? What mindset do I need to cultivate? These questions set the foundation for everything that follows. Because if you do not consciously decide who you want to be, the world will decide for you. The distractions, the negativity, the stress, it will all pull you in different directions unless you anchor yourself first. One simple but powerful exercise is visualization. The Stoics often practiced negative visualization, which means mentally preparing for challenges before they happen. They understood that if you expect difficulties and prepare your mind to handle them, you will not be caught off guard. Picture your day ahead. See yourself facing obstacles with calmness. Imagine dealing with unexpected problems without frustration. Visualize yourself maintaining focus, discipline, and patience no matter what comes your way. When you do this consistently, you train your mind to respond with strength rather than emotion. This practice is especially important in a world full of distractions and instant gratification. Today, most people seek comfort above all else. They avoid difficulty, they procrastinate, they escape into entertainment and mindless consumption. But the Stoics teach us that true fulfillment does not come from avoiding struggle. It comes from overcoming it. And this is where another key principle of Stoicism becomes essential: voluntary discomfort. The Stoics believed that deliberately putting yourself in uncomfortable situations strengthens your character. If you always seek the easy path, you become weak. But if you challenge yourself daily, you develop resilience. So as part of your morning routine, consider incorporating an act of voluntary discomfort. It could be taking a cold shower, pushing yourself in a workout, waking up earlier than you feel like, or doing a difficult task first thing in the morning instead of delaying it. The point is to train yourself to be comfortable with discomfort. Why? Because life will inevitably bring challenges. If you have trained yourself to handle small discomforts, you will be much better equipped to handle bigger ones. You will not be easily shaken, and you will develop the kind of mental toughness that sets you apart. Now, another crucial part of a Stoic morning is journaling. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, wrote regularly to reflect on their thoughts, their actions, and their growth. They used journaling as a tool for self-examination, and this is something you can incorporate into your own routine. It does not have to be complicated. You do not need to write pages of thoughts. Simply take a moment to put your mind on paper. Ask yourself, what are my priorities today? What challenges might arise, and how will I handle them? What kind of person do I want to be today? By doing this, you set your intentions clearly. You remind yourself of what matters. You train your mind to focus on what is within your control and let go of what is not. And that brings us to another vital principle of Stoicism: focusing on what you can control. Most people waste a huge amount of energy worrying about things they have no power over. What other people think, external circumstances, the past, the future. But the Stoics remind us that the only thing we truly own is our own mind, our own actions, our own decisions. So as you start your day, make a commitment to focus only on what is within your control. When you catch yourself stressing over things you cannot change, remind yourself, this is wasted energy. Instead, direct your attention to what you can influence: the way you speak, the way you react, the way you handle your responsibilities. This is where your power lies. And when you train yourself to think this way, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You stop wasting energy on things that do not serve you, and you become far more effective in everything you do. One final element of a Stoic morning routine that often gets overlooked is how you interact with others. The Stoics were not just concerned with personal discipline. They also emphasized kindness, justice, and wisdom in dealing with people. Before you step out into the world each day, remind yourself that you will encounter all kinds of people. Some will be rude, some will be impatient, some will test your patience. But how you respond is always your choice. Decide in the morning that you will not be easily offended, that you will not let others dictate your mood, that you will practice patience, understanding, and control over your emotions. When you make this a conscious decision before your day begins, you will find that you are far less reactive, far less affected by negativity. And when you carry this mindset throughout your day, something interesting happens. You start to notice that the things that used to bother you no longer have power over you. The little frustrations, the small inconveniences, they lose their hold. You become the one who decides how you feel, rather than letting external events decide for you. All of these practices, the way you start your morning, the way you train your mind, the way you handle discomfort, the way you interact with others, combine to create a life of greater strength, resilience, and clarity. When you commit to this way of living, you begin to experience the true power of Stoicism, not just as a philosophy, but as a way of life. When you begin to embody these Stoic principles in your daily routine, something profound happens. You start noticing a shift in the way you handle challenges, in the way you perceive stress, in the way you approach each moment with greater clarity and intention. The habits you cultivate in the morning are not just routines. They are training grounds for your mind. They shape how you respond to the rest of the day, how you deal with setbacks, how you stay focused on what truly matters. And this is why discipline is so crucial. The Stoics understood that freedom is not the absence of responsibility, it is mastery over oneself. The more disciplined you are in the morning, the more control you have over your thoughts, your actions, your emotions. Without discipline, you become a slave to impulse, to distraction, to external influences that pull you away from your purpose. This is where many people struggle. They know what they should do, but they let excuses get in the way. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, that they will be more disciplined when they feel like it. But the Stoics knew the truth. If you wait for motivation, you will never begin. Action must come first. Commitment must come first. Motivation follows those who act, not those who hesitate. So if you want to build a powerful morning routine, you must remove the option of negotiation. Do not debate with yourself about whether or not you will get up early. Do not bargain with yourself about whether or not you will do the difficult things. Decide in advance that your actions are non-negotiable. And this is not about being harsh on yourself. It is about freeing yourself from internal resistance. When you remove the mental energy spent on debating whether or not you will do something, you make discipline effortless. You simply do what you said you would do. You build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that you are in control. This is the essence of Stoicism, not just knowing what is right, but doing what is right. Not just understanding discipline, but living it. And the moment you shift from thinking to action, your life begins to change. But there is another powerful principle that will help you take your morning routine even further: gratitude. Many people think of Stoicism as a philosophy of resilience and toughness, and while that is true, it is also a philosophy of deep appreciation for life. The Stoics constantly reminded themselves that each day is a gift, that time is limited, that every moment is an opportunity. Seneca said it best: while we are postponing, life speeds by. Too many people wake up in the morning and immediately focus on what they lack, on what is wrong, on what they wish was different. But the Stoics understood that gratitude is a choice. No matter your circumstances, you can choose to see what is good. You can choose to recognize the opportunities before you. You can choose to be thankful for the simple fact that you are alive. And this is not just about feeling good. It is about training your mind to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. When you wake up and immediately focus on what you are grateful for, you shift your mindset. You set a tone for the rest of the day that is based on appreciation, rather than complaint. This is a practice you can integrate into your morning in a simple way. Before you do anything else, take a moment to acknowledge 3 things you are grateful for. They do not have to be extraordinary. It could be as simple as the fact that you have a new day ahead of you, the fact that you have people in your life who care about you, the fact that you have the ability to improve, to grow, to learn. By starting your morning with gratitude, you build a mental foundation of strength. You remind yourself that even in difficult times, there is always something to appreciate. And when you carry this perspective throughout your day, you become more resilient, more grounded, more focused on what truly matters. Now, one final piece to consider in building a Stoic morning routine is the way you consume information. In today's world, most people wake up and immediately flood their minds with distractions: social media, emails, news, entertainment. The first thing they do is fill their mind with noise. But the Stoics believed in intentional learning. They believed in feeding the mind with wisdom rather than allowing it to be consumed by randomness. Marcus Aurelius read and wrote every morning. Seneca studied the great thinkers of his time. They understood that the mind must be trained just like the body. So instead of filling your morning with distractions, choose to feed your mind with something valuable. Read philosophy, study history, listen to something that challenges your thinking. Use the morning to strengthen your mind, to expand your understanding, to develop the kind of perspective that allows you to navigate life with wisdom. This is not just about knowledge, it is about shaping the way you think. Because the thoughts you allow into your mind in the morning influence everything that follows. If you start your day with distraction, your mind will be scattered. But if you start with wisdom, your mind will be focused. And this is how you build a Stoic morning routine that transforms your life. It is not just about waking up early. It is not just about checking things off a list. It is about setting a foundation of strength, discipline, clarity, and wisdom that carries into everything you do. It is about training your mind, training your character, training yourself to be the person you are capable of becoming. And once you begin to experience the power of this kind of morning routine, something incredible happens. You start moving through your day with a different kind of energy. You are no longer reacting impulsively to every situation, no longer feeling overwhelmed by small inconveniences, no longer letting distractions dictate your focus. Instead, you begin to operate from a place of control, of clarity, of purpose. This is what most people never realize. Your morning routine is not just about what happens in the first hour of your day. It is about the momentum it creates. It is about the way it shapes your mindset, your discipline, your ability to handle whatever challenges come your way. And when you take control of your mornings, you take control of your life. But here is where most people go wrong. They try to change everything at once. They wake up one day, decide they want to have a perfect morning routine, and overload themselves with too many habits, too many rules, too many expectations. And inevitably, they burn out. They miss a day, feel like they failed, and go back to their old ways. The key is to start simple, build a foundation. Do not overwhelm yourself with a long list of habits that are difficult to maintain. Instead, focus on a few core principles that create the most impact. Discipline, gratitude, learning, movement, and reflection. These are the pillars of a powerful morning. And when you master these, everything else becomes easier. You no longer need to rely on motivation because you have built discipline. You no longer feel overwhelmed by stress Because you have trained your mind to focus on what you can control. You no longer waste time on distractions because you have set clear priorities. This is why the Stoics were so intentional with their mornings. They understood that if you win the morning, you win the day. They knew that self-mastery is not achieved in a single moment, but in the daily practice of discipline and wisdom. And they understood that the habits you cultivate in private shape the person you become in public. So ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be the kind of person who drifts through life, controlled by impulses, distracted by every little thing, always wishing they had more time, but never making the most of it? Or do you want to be the kind of person who takes ownership of their mind, who builds discipline, who moves through life with strength and clarity? Because that choice is made every morning. It is made in the first moments of your day, when you decide whether to hit snooze or get up with purpose, whether to scroll through your phone or spend a few minutes in reflection, whether to let the world dictate your mood or to set your own mindset with gratitude and wisdom. And the best part, you do not have to be perfect. You do not have to get it right every single time. The goal is progress, not perfection. The goal is to become just a little bit better today than you were yesterday, to take one small step forward, to build momentum, because when you do this day after day, you start to change in ways you never thought possible. You begin to see discipline not as a burden, but as a source of freedom. You begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to grow. You begin to feel a deeper sense of purpose in everything you do. And that is the real power of a Stoic morning routine. It is not just about the morning. It is about the kind of person you are becoming. It is about setting a standard for yourself. It is about proving every single day that you have the strength to control your mind, to shape your actions, to live with intention. And once you start living this way, something amazing happens. The excuses disappear. The distractions lose their grip. The fear of failure fades because you realize that the only real failure is not trying at all. So as you wake up tomorrow, remember this. You have a choice. You can let the day control you, or you can take control of the day. You can waste time on things that do not matter, or you can invest your time in what makes you stronger. You can live passively, or you can live with purpose. And when you make that choice, consistently, day after day, something even greater starts to happen. You stop feeling like life is something that is happening to you, and instead you realize that you are in control. You become the architect of your own days, the designer of your own habits, and the master of your own mindset. Because here is the truth. Your life is not determined by one big moment. It is not about a single breakthrough, a single achievement, or a single turning point. It is shaped by the small things you do every single day, the way you wake up, the way you think, the way you act. This is why so many people struggle. They wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the right circumstances before they take action. But the Stoics understood that waiting is a trap. If you wait for motivation, you will never start. If you wait for the perfect moment, you will never move forward. That is why the foundation of a powerful life is built in the morning. Because the moment you open your eyes, you are setting the tone for everything that follows. The way you start your day affects your focus, your decisions, your discipline, and ultimately, your success. Think about it. When you start your morning with chaos, stress, or distraction, that energy follows you throughout the day. You feel rushed, scattered, and out of control. But when you start your morning with clarity, purpose, and discipline, you carry that strength with you into everything you do. This is why the great thinkers, leaders, and warriors of history all had morning routines. They knew that mastery is not a one-time event. It is a habit. It is a way of living. And it starts the moment you wake up. So what does this look like in practice? It means not picking up your phone the first thing in the morning. It means taking a few moments to breathe, to reflect, to set your intention. It means choosing to move your body, to strengthen your mind, to fuel yourself with knowledge and wisdom. It means resisting the urge to fall into distractions and instead focusing on what truly matters. And here is the key. This is not about being perfect. It is not about following a strict list of rules. It is about creating a routine that works for you. A routine that helps you become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined over time. Because here is what most people do not realize. Success is not about how much you do, but about how consistently you do it. It is not about doing everything at once, but about doing the right things every day. The small, simple habits that build momentum, that create confidence, that shape who you become. And once you experience this shift, once you feel the power of taking control of your mornings, you will never want to go back. You will never want to waste your mornings on things that drain you, that weaken you, that steal your energy and focus. Instead, you will crave discipline. You will crave clarity. You will crave that feeling of knowing that you are moving forward, that you are becoming stronger, that you are in control of your life. And when you build this foundation in the morning, it affects everything else. You start making better decisions. You start managing your time more effectively. You start approaching challenges with a different mindset. Because you know that no matter what happens during the day, you have already won the morning. You have already set the standard for yourself. You have already proven that you are capable of showing up, of doing the work, of living with purpose. And that, more than anything else, is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. It is not luck. It is not talent. It is not some secret formula. It is the ability to take control of the things you can control. And that starts with how you wake up, with how you think, with how you act. And when you take control of your mornings, something incredible starts to happen. You stop feeling like a passenger in your own life. You stop reacting to whatever the world throws at you, and instead you become proactive. You take charge. You create momentum that carries you forward, making every action more intentional, every decision more aligned with the person you want to become. Most people go through life feeling like they are constantly trying to catch up. They wake up tired, hit snooze multiple times, rush through their morning, and then dive into a day filled with distractions, stress, and obligations that feel overwhelming. But when you start your day with clarity and purpose, you step out of that cycle. You shift from being someone who is constantly reacting to someone who is leading their own life with discipline and focus. This is the power of a morning routine grounded in Stoic principles. It is not about adding more things to your to-do list or making your mornings complicated. It is about simplifying. It is about stripping away what does not serve you and focusing only on what truly matters. It is about choosing to prioritize your mental, physical, and emotional strength before anything else. And this choice does not just affect your mornings. It affects your entire life. Because once you prove to yourself that you can take control of the first moments of your day, you start to realize that you can take control of everything else as well. Your mindset, your habits, your relationships, your goals, the way you handle challenges, the way you deal with setbacks. But the truth is, most people never experience this because they never give themselves a real chance. They try for a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, and then fall back into old patterns. They tell themselves it is too hard, that they do not have enough time, that they are not a morning person. But that is just a story that keeps them stuck, a story that stops them from reaching their full potential. Because the reality is, discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is a muscle that gets stronger every time you use it. And the more you practice it in the morning, the more it carries over into the rest of your life. And here is something most people do not realize. When you develop discipline in the morning, it reduces stress, not increases it. Why? Because most stress does not come from having too much to do. It comes from feeling out of control. It comes from not having a clear direction. It comes from waking up and immediately feeling like you are behind. But when you create a morning routine that strengthens your mind and body, you start your day with confidence instead of chaos. You step into the world already prepared, already in control, already focused. And that changes everything. Imagine the version of yourself that wakes up with a purpose, that does not need to hit snooze 5 times because they are excited to start the day, that does not immediately grab their phone and get lost in distractions, that takes the time to reflect, to move, to breathe, to think, that walks into the day with clarity, knowing exactly what needs to be done and why it matters. That version of you is possible, but it requires a decision to stop living on autopilot, a decision to take back control of your time, your focus, and your energy, a decision to stop making excuses and start taking action. And the best part? It does not take years to see results. You do not have to wait months to feel the benefits. The shift happens immediately. The first morning you wake up and choose discipline over comfort, you feel the difference. The first morning you take control instead of reacting to distractions, you realize how much power you actually have. And once you taste that level of clarity, once you feel that level of strength, you will not want to go back, because you will see the truth. Success is not something you find. It is something you create. And it starts the moment you wake up. And now, you have a choice. You can take this knowledge and let it pass like just another video you watched today. Or you can take action. You can decide that from this moment on, your mornings will no longer be rushed, distracted, or wasted. You can choose to start your day with purpose, with clarity, and with the discipline of someone who is in control of their own life. Because that is exactly what you are capable of, taking control. You do not have to wait for the perfect moment, for the perfect motivation, or for the perfect circumstances. The power is already in you. The only thing you need to do is take the first step. And if you are ready to keep growing, if you are ready to keep sharpening your mindset and strengthening your discipline, then this is just the beginning. There is so much more to learn, so much more to improve, and so much more you can become. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here you will always find the tools, the mindset, and the motivation to become the strongest version of yourself. And every time you watch, you are investing in your future, in your success, and in your ability to rise above whatever challenges life throws your way. And remember, your mornings shape your days, and your days shape your life. So start strong, stay disciplined, and never stop growing. See you in the next video.